When I was 17, I wrote a love song called Eternity. It was dramatic, it was about a teenage love, but I meant every word of it at the time. Today I'm going to perform you the original version, the verse and the chorus. And then I'm going to show you the rewrite of the same verse and chorus and what it would sound like if I wrote it today, 9 years on. And I'll walk you through what I changed lyrically, melodically and emotionally, and also explain to you why I made those changes and why I believe those changes have improved the song and made it stronger. So if you're a songwriter, this is a video to how you look at your songs, you revisit them, you identify some of the weaknesses and how you then improve your skill set and how you improve the song. Hey, Danny here from Songwriters International. A super warm welcome to the channel. If you're new here, we help songwriters develop their craft by sharing tips, tricks and techniques to help you write your best possible songs. So let's jump straight into this. Let's look at the original version first, the version that I wrote when I was 17. Let's put the lyrics up on the screen. So we have here, let's go back to that day when we first met. Your eyes were looking at me and you thought that I couldn't see. There was an instant connection between us both. What I do next, I don't know. That is the verse. As you can see from the verse, it's incredibly simple. It's very straight to the point. It's basically just saying what I was feeling at the time and without the thought process of a 26-year-old now sitting here reanalyzing that song. Then let's jump on into the chorus and we have, we are meant to be just you and me, together forever for eternity. I keep on loving you more every single day, and I pray to God that you'll never go away. It was all heart, it was all hope. The story is crystal clear, yes. We met, it was magic, and that we were meant to be together forever. It's the kind of story we all write when we're young, or if we're writing for a brief or opportunity. But when I look back through that, what I hear a lot now is surface level emotion. There's not much detail, there's not much tension, and emotionally it's not really there. And it quite literally tells you everything. It doesn't leave anything for the imagination of the listener. It also leans very heavy on final words like eternity, forever, meant to be, but doesn't really show why or how this love is meaningful to either one of the persons in the relationship. So now what I want to do is actually take you through what this sounded like with a melody and a set of chords. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, let's go back to that day when we first met, yeah. Your eyes were looking at me and you thought that I couldn't see, yeah. And there was an instant connection between us both. And what I do next, well, I don't know, yeah. Chorus. 'Cause we are meant to be just you and me, oh yeah. Together forever, for eternity. And I keep on loving you more every single day, oh yeah. And I pray to God that you'll never go away. So there we have it, and I remember playing that to my family and they were all like, wow, this is amazing, this should be on radio. And I look back and this is why I suggest to students, friends and family do not count. They'll just tell you it's great, because that song, respectfully to 17-year-old me, is not great. It's so surface level, it's not particularly catchy, and it's never going to be good enough to be heard on radio. So here's how I approach the same idea, but today, at 26 years old, what I changed and what I've done differently to improve the song along. But now the story and the focus of the song has actually shifted dramatically. It's less about that perfect moment in which we met, and it's more about the decision to stay, even when a relationship is not necessarily perfect. So let's dive on into the verse. So we now start with, we didn't plan it, but somehow we're here. Through all the noise and the shifting years, it's not always magic, it's not always clear, but something in you keeps pulling me near. And then we transition from there, out of that verse, and we go into our chorus, which is as follows. Maybe it's fate, or maybe we chose it. Two hearts holding on while the world's unfolding. If love is a fire, then I want to burn slowly. With you, with you, with you. Now the biggest change here when I get into it is not necessarily the melody or the music or the rhyme, but it's actually the story. The first version, Eternity, was all about how we met and how we are destined to be for the rest of our lives. But the new version isn't necessarily about a perfect moment. It's about choosing each other now in the uncertainty, and it resembles more of real life. And that reflects how my understanding of love and songwriting has matured over the years. Okay, so now I'm going to go through this with the guitar and sing it out. I've got my laptop here with the lyrics because I can't remember them all. So here we go. We didn't plan it, but somehow we're here. Through all the noise and the shifting years, and it's not always magic, it's not always clear, yeah, but something in you keeps pulling me near. And maybe it's fate, or maybe we chose it. Two hearts holding on while the world's unfolding. If love is a fire, then I wanna burn slowly with you, with you, with you. So rather than the verse being one whole chunk of a melody, I've added space. What I wanted to do in verse 1 in the second version of this, the new version, is I wanted to have space in between each section of the verse. So I wanted, we didn't plan it, and then I wanted space, but somehow we're here. So it sounds like this. We didn't plan it, space, but somehow we're here. And then again, through all the noise, space, and the shifting years. But in the original version we had, well, let's go back to that day when we first met. And we only had the space melodically at the end of the verse. But I wanted space in the middle of each verse line and also at the end of each verse line. And then one of the other big things that I did in the chorus is a technique that I call the third line breakout, which is where melodically the third line in a section changes. That could be the chorus, it could be a bridge, it could be a verse. In this case, it's the chorus. It's the line which is, if love is a fire, then I want to burn slowly. So I'm going to go through that. I'm going to take you through the chorus, and I want you to hear how that third line in that chorus sounds slightly different and varying to the lines before. 1, 2, and maybe it's fate, or maybe we chose it. Two hearts holding on while the world's unfolding. If love is a fire, then I want to burn slowly. If love is a fire. In that section there, we have a spiked melody, a disjunct melody we call it, but we also have a melody that changes. So now let's actually dive into the lyrics on this. The original version started with, let's go back to that day when we first met. And in the rewrite, we've changed that to, we didn't plan it, but somehow we're here. Version 1 is very vague, whereas version 2 actually allows you to paint a picture. In that version 2, you feel like something specific has happened, and it's far more enticing. The first line of your song should always try and entice the listener to want to hear more. And in the original version, let's go back to that day when we first met, is not really pulling anybody in. It's more likely that someone's going to turn off with that type of lyric. So the takeaway here is to really focus on the impact that you have on the opening line, but also to add emotion and paint the picture rather than tell. In the original version of Eternity, there was no real hook. Yes, there was a chorus, but we were using the words like eternity, forever, every single day. There was nothing really for the listener to latch onto. And in the version 2, the rewrite, we changed that and we started with maybe it's fate or maybe we chose it. So we straight away solidify a hook with the word maybe because it's a repetitive line. And then at the end of the chorus, we finish it with you, with you, with you. We do that 3 times because then it just gives a little bit of sense of familiarity for the listener, and it will then cement that hook next time that chorus comes around. And at that point of the song, you've told the listener a lot of a story. You've brought them into the world that you're trying to bring them into. So now you're going to release the tension, you're going to release the pressure for them to understand more, and you're just going to give them something simple to focus in on, which is the with you repetition. And the takeaway here is that repetition hits the hardest after emotional impact. And if we also take a look at the opening line of the first chorus, we were meant to be just you and me. It tells the listener everything. It doesn't really leave anything to the imagination, where in version 2, we say maybe it's fate or maybe we chose it. That line carries doubt, it carries maturity and commitment all at once. The takeaway here is not to tell the listener everything, Don't tell them. Allow them to imagine things. Allow them to make their own assumptions on a situation. So now that the song becomes them, it becomes theirs because they've added themselves and attached themselves to things that you're saying. And here's the thing, I couldn't have written this version of Eternity when I was 17, and that's okay. But I'm really glad that I wrote the first one, because I'm able to sit here today and go back through it, and it's given me something to build from. It's given me the foundations to build upwards. And that's why we write. It's not to be perfect, but it's to come back later on and be able to build on what we've already said. And that's why it's so important to go back to a song and rewrite it. Look at it from a different perspective, because that seed that you planted can now go on and flourish. And you can go back to songs that are 2 years old, 5 years old, or in this case 9 years old, or however long your tracks may be. Having that time away and being able to revisit it, you can come at it from a different perspective. Now, if you want to see how I actually write songs today in my current process and no longer like the 17-year-old me, then I've got a video which I walk you through the entire process from start to finish to how I've gone about doing this for this particular song. How I start the song, how I build it out, how I write my lyrics, my melodies, my structures, and everything that is the song. So somewhere around here you can click that video and go and watch my entire process, how I write a song, and I'd love to share that with you and get you writing great songs.